Afternoon world, from a very windy day up here in paradise. Had a little bit of showers around this morning. Sun's out, it's actually quite warm. Got to be about, at least about 23 degrees, so not too bad for a mid-winter's day. Roll the intro. Hi, Hippy Trev here, and welcome to my channel. Hope you get something out of it. Rightio, well, so doing a bit of work on the bike again on Verg. So give it a bit of a clean up yesterday, got out with the steel wool, clean up the back rims a bit, doing a bit to the front rims today, just trying to get that cleaned up. I bought this stuff called Gump, so I'm sort of going over the gump and a rag, just trying to clean that up. So yeah, this so she's definitely a LAMS approved bike. We've got the rego papers. So what's going on is, oh, by the way, here's the second tank. That's the second fuel tank these bikes have. It's amazing. It's about 3 litres. So what's happening? We've got the switch on the dash here. It's on. So you have on, and you have reserve. Now what's happening is when you first start the bike and turn the key on, the pump will start pumping in that position, and you can start and run the bike. First cold start. And she'll run, and the pump will pump. I put a new fuel filter on there. It'll pump, and it'll run and pump for a couple of seconds, and then it'll cut out. You lose power, so that's just going to drain that down. So you lose power to the fuel pump. There's the fuel pump right there. When you click over to reserve, power is then reinstalled. Yep, just feeling it. So power goes back to the fuel pump, and she'll run continuously in the reserve position. So what's going on is when it's in on and run position, the pump will work for about a minute or two, and then it'll cut out. Now Shelby gone on to somebody on a some sort of forum we show. Now what happens is you've got a low fuel warning reserve light, like a warning light when you hit the low fuel range. Now this light doesn't come on whether the glow's blown or the sensor inside the tank is no longer working. Now I took the tank off yesterday, up in there. There was brief power coming to this line here, but not much. I've even tried like shorting that out to make that little light up in the dash come on, but it doesn't. So the sensor there's bugged. But basically, the bottom line is we don't have reserve. It'll just run until this tank, the top tank's drained, and then the second tank down the bottom will just run until it runs out, obviously. So we've got to do something about it. Now yesterday, I had the bright idea of putting a clear line from the fuel tank down and across to monitor it. Well, what I realised, I hooked this line up to the vent line that runs up to the whole length of the tank up to the top here. So that's not even a fuel line, that's just a breather line. Smart me. So what I've got to do now is I've got to drain the fuel again, pull this tank out, pull all this off, and what I've got to do is, instead of trying to run it this line here, which is actually goes into the breather line, I've got to run from the bottom of this tank. I'm going to run a clear line. I'm going to run it up the stem here and strap it to the stem, and that will give an indication that when that line there starts to fall, we'll know this tank's empty. So that'll be our reserve tank indicator. That's my idea anyway. I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to get some more feedback about that switch. I know that switch worked in both positions, because when I drained the fuel filter down in the on position and then turned the bike off and then turned the key back on, in the on position it filled this filter up straight away, and then within a couple of seconds it just lost power to the pump. But when it's in the reserve position, it'll pump continuously. So instead of trying to nut that out, which I'm not that smart, I mean, bike electrics are a goddamn nightmare, we all know that. Look at all this coloured spaghetti, and there's been alterations done just to make the tail light work. So someone's been in here long before I am Not only that, it has a weird issue where the indicators will not work unless you put the light switch on. Now the indicators work, and the weird thing is that does not turn the headlight off, or the tail light is on all the time. Not only that, the flasher light here, that doesn't work. It doesn't flash anything. Oh, that's just the high-low switch, sorry. So that's a weird one. So for the indicators to work, the light switch has to be on. But you turn the light switch off, the headlight stays on, but the indicators don't work. So someone's definitely there and messing with this bike in some way. So I'm going to get in there and mess with it a little more. But so like I said, so instead of trying to figure out making that switch work and pump all the time, I'm going to make this clear line that I put onto the breather line. I didn't realise. I'm going to strap this to the side of the bike up here, and that will be a line, and we'll be able to tell exactly how much fuel is in the bike, especially when this tank gets empty. Shelby or whoever's riding will be able to look down, and once we see the fuel starting to come down here, we know we've only got 3 litres left in this bottom tank. So apart from that, so yep, I'm just going to do me a bit of cleaning. So I attacked this side yesterday and cleaned it as much as I could. I'll go over a bit more clean. So this side's definitely a little bit cleaner than the other side. I've cleaned up a lot of the chrome work. Soap buds. Cheap old steel wool soap pads are the best thing for cleaning chrome that I've come across so far, but I'll give that gump a good go. So, but anyway, worlds, not out in the bikes today. Can't be fagged. I'd rather just stay at home and spend a little bit more time with Verg and try and get it cleaned up a lot more. Wouldn't mind putting a bit of paint on some of these rust areas here. Just put a bit of jam over them, just to tidy them up, make it look a bit prettier. I don't think this bike is a shit box, as someone else said, but it's definitely been detuned to some degree, because it doesn't run much better than a 250. And I've seen the videos, and I know I've watched one the other day. One topped out at 198 k's on the dial. These things do go. I know they go. At some point I will be pulling the carbies out, but not just yet. I'm not ready to go to that stage. I got shown how to pull the air box off this side. The air filter's pretty disgusting, but I'm getting a brand new air filter for $24 for a new air filter online. That's pretty good. The front wheel bearings are absolute toast, but I've got a new set of front wheel bearings are shot, but that's okay. $40 for a new set of front wheel bearings. They'll be here next week. Wheel bearings are a piss easy job. The back brakes are pretty much on full adjustment, so a new set of back shoes. They're not that expensive either. They're the easy parts to deal with. The front forks were heavily pitted, so I took to them yesterday with steel wool, and they cleaned up pretty bloody good. Like, I got rid of nearly all the pits. I'll go over that again and again. I might even put a bit of gump paste on there and go over it again. I'm just going to keep cleaning this bike. This crummy looking aluminium bracket, I'm going to take this off at some stage, and I'll just go and put it over the steel wool brush on my bench grind, and I will polish that up to look good. So yeah, I don't believe it's a shit box bike. It does have a couple of issues, but in saying that, it has definitely been detuned to the extent that at this stage it tops out at about the 120k mark. So it's definitely been detuned. Now, I don't know anything about timing these girls. I don't even know where the timing sits. Well, that's the clutch side. So whether they've adjusted something in the cams, whether the cams have been adjusted at some stage, or like, I don't know how to get this cover here off, if that's even a cover. And I'd say that's where the ignition might live, down in there. I really don't know where the ignition lives on this bike. It could be up the top. I don't know. I haven't been able to get that information yet. I'm still hunting for that sort of information. So if anyone can tell me where the ignition is and how to adjust that, they might have just retarded this thing. Like, it might have been retarded in the ignition, and like, you do that with a car, you retard your car so far and it'll be sluggish, and it just won't run. It'll run, but you're losing horsepower. So I reckon they've retarded the timing somehow. I'm trying to find out. I've been going YouTube and Googling, but I haven't found out yet where to adjust the timing. So that's another thing I'll be doing of a night time when I'm sitting in my bus. We've not much else to do. Yeah, so that's it. So anyway, worlds, a pretty windy day up here in Paradise, as I said, but you know, it's about 23 to 25 degrees. I have got clothing on, but I'm still in my bare feet and my twinkle toes. And it is a little bit warm out here, so it's kind of nice. So anyway, stay safe, worlds, keep your knees in the breeze, and I will catch you later. Bye.